Hello! Welcome to Salmon Ruins. This will be your trail guide.
First of all, what are the Salmon ruins? Well, as the name sounds, they are ancient buildings left by ancestral Puebloan people. It's a site that's owned by the county, however, it's run by a nonprofit. Their goal is community education as well as cultural preservation. I had many roles at the museum. Some of those were talking to guests and answering questions here in the museum, as well as at the front desk as you saw in the beginning of the video. I did a lot of education about the history of Salmon. One of my favorite projects was here working in the Kids Corner. I created it as an educational station for children who visit. It includes information about the area as well as hands-on crafts. Finally, I worked in the gift shop coordinating with local indigenous vendors as well as working the register. Many of my goals for this summer were simply to learn. I've lived in this area most of my life and realized I really didn't know that much about the people that founded and developed this land and who still live here today. There's a lot of history that just isn't taught and is being lost. Many of this is no one knows about and no one has the desire to learn about. And it's really interesting things that should be shared with everyone, and it's an important part of our history. So my goal for the summer was simply to learn. Along with living in this area my whole life, I've also worked with nonprofits in here my whole life. However, all the work that we've done has been very much one and done or simple, quick type trips. I wanted to be able to really engage with a nonprofit as well as to learn about other resources and the type of community that's been built around here and the resources that are available to these people. In those ways, I did accomplish my goals. However, there were a lot of frustrations involved with working with Salmon ruins. One of those include this house that's pictured here. It's the original Salmon homestead, and it contains a lot of really important artifacts as well as information that is relevant to the public and should be open, and it was up until 6 years ago. However, since then, it's fallen to disrepair and has been boarded up and no one is allowed in. Unfortunately, all this would take would be a few volunteers to go in and clean it up. That's why it was closed, it's just dirty and a few minor repairs. However, there just isn't the coordination of volunteers in order to get this fixed and reopened. Another one of those is the auditorium here in this video. They used to have big community events with cultural dances, informational activities, heirloom weavers, potters, all sorts of different things. Again, open to the public and great informational sessions that I think are a really good way to inform the public in a fun and engaging way, as well as supporting local artisans and people of different trades. Unfortunately, it's also been closed up due to no one wanting to take on community projects. There simply just isn't the communication or the desire to start this back up again. And these are both things that I really tried to work on while I was there, and unfortunately, nothing could be done, and they haven't been reopened. However, I really hope in the future that I'll come back and they will be reopened. Through this summer, I learned a lot about the necessity of having a great organizational structure within a nonprofit. Having the coordination of volunteers as well as full-time employees to keep it operational as well as providing the necessary services to the public. Although there were some frustrating times, I definitely learned a lot and I did enjoy my summer. And this was my last one. So thank you, Bonner, for exposing me to these great summers of service.